Okay, so now let us go and see and activate the BC sets required for GRC, SAP GRC access control. Okay, so before we go and activate the BC sets, so let's go and check some sample couple of tables in SC16. Okay, so we check the table GRC rule set. Okay, and see how many entries we got here. Okay, so we got one entry here, which is called global, which is okay. Let's go and check the access rule. There are no entries in this. And then let's check another one and say GRC function. Okay, 198 entries. Okay, so let's go and check the activity. The reason we tried to do is to check this was to see whether these tables will empty or not. Now we have some records. Okay, so those records are because the BC sets have been activated. Okay, so let's go and activate the BC sets anyway again and just see. Okay, so the transaction code for that is SCPR20. Okay, now you go and activate, search for, because your BC sets are related to access control, you go and search for GRAC BC sets. Okay, so you get about 32 entries here. Okay, now depending on what your requirements are, you're going to activate the BC sets. Okay, there are some BC sets that are mandatory. Okay, till let's say till common. Okay, it's from here to here, which are common. You need to activate them, and then depending on what applications you are going to implement in your GRC, you activate the relevant BC sets for that. So you activate the SAP basis. Then, for example, if you are implementing Fiori and HANA both, then you activate this BC set SAP S4 HANA underscore all. If you are only implementing HANA S4 HANA, then you activate this BC set. If you are implementing Fiori, you can implement this BC set. Okay, so either you can choose to activate S4 HANA all in case of S4 HANA and Fiori if you are using both, or you could activate these two BC sets individually. Okay, so similarly, as you can activate rule set SAP RC because of VCC rule sets, and then there are about 5 rule sets or the BC sets which are related to BRM. All this RA is risk analysis. Okay, and there is one BC set for EAM, and the ones that you see access request, they all are for ARM. Okay, and apart from these, there is another one BC set that you would need to activate for MSMP. Okay, so let's go and activate these BC sets now and see what happens. Okay, so select your BC set and then click on activate. So let's go and create one. Okay, and when you get this box, activation option, select the expert mode. Okay, click on continue. Okay, so once this is activation successfully done, there are two things you can do. You can check the activation logs, or you can see the overall view of the BC set. Okay, so this one gives you the details about the configuration that it has done, okay, what it has loaded into your GRC system. So in this case, it has loaded one process ID for MSMP into this table. Okay, so let's go and activate it again, see what happens. Okay, so it only gives you one. Now let's go and do the remaining ones. So this is going to take time, okay, so this is a little time consuming process that you have to patiently go through. So before you do anything, right, so before you start doing this, you need to make a list of the BC sets that you want to activate. Okay, so I'm going to do this, and every time you do this, you can always go and check what tables this is going to make entries in, right? So this is priorities list for your GRC access requests, right? So you have high, okay, in different languages, okay, for different process IDs here. So it is now loading all the settings that you need for your GRC. Request types, okay, so every time you activate, you can go and see what tables it goes into, the data is getting into. Okay, so you have all the request types listed here in English and in German language, new account, change account. This is for your ARM, okay, access request. All right, so before you see, along with your access request form, you also have a simplified access request form, okay. So this is for those, for that form. So you can activate those. So again, you can check, you will have almost the same kinds of information here, okay. Oh, SCPR 20, and then so what we are going to do is we are going to activate all the BC sets, like we are going to activate as for HANA all, because we are going to configure Fiori also. So we're going to use this, and then we're going to use BRM. We'll activate the basis rule set, okay, R3 rule set, and then BRM SCM. Okay, so we are going to do this. All right. So here in this now we are going to activating the S4HANA Fiori rule set, BC set. Okay, so when the activation is done, we'll see what tables we get, okay, what data we get. Okay, I've paused the video, okay, for a couple of minutes to come to this point, and once I show you S4HANA BC set, this is what the BC set that we are activating right now. I'm going to pause the video again, and then restart it when I'm activating the MSMP BC set, okay. Because the MSMP BC set is not part of the GRAC list. So that's a separate one that you need to activate for MSMP workflows. So because this is loading the Fiori and GRAC rule sets, it's taking time. Okay, once this is done, right, we are going to also activate BC set related to SAP HANA database. And then we'll take a look at the log to understand what kind of data configuration data is coming into GRC because of these three BC sets. So this one ended with warnings, but it's okay. Now let's go and check, okay, the log. Okay, so it goes and enters the data into funcat. Okay, so it gives you the list of functions and function IDs, and the transaction actions means the the transaction codes that are part of that function, and the connector ID. Okay, and then if you also look, because we included a Fiori also in this, Fiori related entries, right, the actions would be prefixed with FAAPP, okay, Fiori app. Okay, so that's another thing you need to remember here. The Fiori app actions are prefixed with FAAPP, FApp. Okay, now scroll down, and these are function IDs. Okay, if you scroll up now a little bit, now these are your services. Okay, these are your Fiori OData services. So Fiori OData services are prefixed with SVC, and when you say it's an underscore SRV and N, that means it's an OData service, okay, which will be used in Fiori as a Fiori app. Alright, so okay, let's see what you got here now. This again is a Fiori app, okay, and each Fiori app will be related to an with an OData service. So even services are listed here. These are all again Fiori apps. Okay. These are all Fiori apps. So depending on what BC set, for what application you are activating, you'll get the connector ID also. Okay, so next we are going to do, let's go and check. Okay, so this table, for example, there's your OData services and the Fiori apps again. These are all OData services. One start with SVC and then end with SRV. They are all OData services. Okay, so once that is done, okay, so this table, GRAC Fund PRM, right? Now it's basically is also listing the authorizations, okay, the permission authorizations for each of those function IDs and transactions or actions. Okay, it's a collection of that. Now in this particular case, what happened was these are the different other tables that basically tell you what connector was group was loaded into the system, right? And the group type. This is the table for group type, connector group type, and this is the table for connector group. There's a view basically. Okay, so what it means is you can also create your own connector group. Wherever you see v underscore, you could create your own. Okay, now let's go and deactivate the SAP R3 one. Okay, so we activated this S4HANA all. Now let us go and activate the basis one. So in the meanwhile, let us go and check the SE16, because when we started off, there was one table that didn't have any records in it. Okay, so I think this is the one. Click on this. Oh, it was. Okay, so there was one. Okay, let's go and sector invariant. Let's go and check for basis. And you see, we'll see the same thing. Okay, so this time is this BC set loaded all the basis related function IDs and connector group. Okay, this is the connector group for basis related. Okay, the same data you get that we just saw for S4HANA, all the transaction codes and the okay. Now let's go and activate the remaining ones. So we had so we did basis, and now let us do S4HANA. HANA is this SAP HANA is for HANA database. Okay, so do that. If you're going to integrate HANA database with GRC, you need that. Okay, so let's see what this one has got. So this one, for example, these are all your system privileges in HANA database, and HANA database connector IDs, HANA LG. Okay, and these are all system databases and system privileges. These are all your what do you call sysbic and sysbi and sysbic sysbic privileges from these two schemas. And then you have the packages related privileges here, HN15, repo export, repo import. Okay, so these are all HANA database related rule sets. Okay, all right. Now once we did that, now let us go and activate the. All right, so we did basis, we did HANA. If you are implementing HR, okay, then you can activate the HR rule set also. The point is, you're activating these rule sets, so you need to be careful. Okay, you don't want everything in your system. You just activate what you really need. Alright, so let's go and check the next one. Let's activate the SAP R3. So every BC set will bring its own what do you call connector IDs, connector groups into the system. Okay, so those are the settings that we are going to configure when we start implementing, want to implement ARA, BRM, and EAM and ARA modules. After this BC set is activated, I'm going to pause the video and then go ahead and activate the remaining BC sets so that this video doesn't become too long, because we are not doing anything different here, right? We are just activating the BC sets and the steps are the same for all of them. Okay, so I'm going to pause the video after this BC set is activated and then resume it for the last one, the MSMP one. So this BC set has been activated now. We can go and check the tables in the log as to what connector group and connector ID and function IDs that were loaded. Okay, so connector ID is R3LG, and if you remember, you had the same function IDs for S4HANA also. Okay, and then if you scroll down to the end, you'll also see the connector group information. Okay, now I'm going to pause this video and go ahead and activate the remaining BC sets that we require. Okay, so we finished HANA and then we press ARE. Now I'm going to, we finish this. I'm going to activate the last 6. Okay, this is for BRM, all this role ones are for BRM and SPM is for AM. So I'm going to pause this video and activate those. Okay, so after activating all the GRSC related BC sets, the last one that you need to activate is for MSMP workflows. Okay, which is GRC_MSMP configuration. Okay, this is the BC set you need for MSMP. Okay, let's go and activate this and see which one, what does this BC set bring in to your system. Alright, so let's go and take a look at the tables. So it brings in 10 process IDs. Okay, and these are the tables. This is the description for each of those process IDs. These are the classes, methods for those process IDs. So these are the list of again. So these are the different stages. So everything that you see in MSMP workflow screens all those 6 stage phases, right? The maintain stage, routing, notification, all those phases of the steps that you have, you can get the data loaded here from this BC set. Okay, so with this, your BC set activations are done. Okay,